Welcome back to another episode of Let's Have a Sip. I'm your host, Shawn Drinks.
What is going on, Trevor?
What is up, Shawn?
Just chilling, buddy. Just
Heck
chilling.
yeah, I like your background.
I am in my walk-in closet in the master bedroom. So
Well, that's cool. It works.
I'm in the dungeon, so it's working. It's working for me.
Is that a Kentucky bourbon in the right-hand corner? Or my right-hand corner. So it'd be your left.
Kentucky? Yeah, there's a lot of Kentucky over here. So you're talking about over here?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much everything over there is Kentucky whiskey. So you got Blanton's. You'll hear everybody talking about Blanton's. You got Larceny, Eagle Rare. You got some good stuff back there, but that's my shit. So
Nice. I haven't busted out the Kentucky bourbon in a long time.
yeah, man.
Well, heck yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. This is exciting.
Yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody. Obviously, your name's Trevor Hancock, but what is Trevor Hancock's day-to-day life like?
So I'm a filmmaker based in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm originally from a little place called Cleveland, Tennessee, where I met Shawn. I'm sure we'll get into that in a little bit. We met at UPS, worked there for a couple of years. But my day-to-day life, it's honestly different every day. I never know what to expect. I work at this place called DDPY Yoga, and long story short, it is a fitness company ran by the one and only Diamond Dallas Page. He's a former wrestling superstar back in the 90s, and I can tell you about that company later on. But basically, I'm a video editor, and I produce a lot of content for them, and I work on an incredible team of people that just bring Diamond Dallas Page's vision to life, and we tell people stories about how they lose weight or they want to fix like something in their life, whether it's physical or mental, and we just kind of make things that inspire people and we just want people to live their best lives.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I like that. I know you've been in the game for a while, and by in the game I mean like videography. And excuse my ignorance, but I mean, is there anything else you would call it? But I don't know.
How dare you? I can't believe this. So, unbelievable. Unprepared host.
I know, I'm a piece of crap. So no, but yeah, man, because I remember I was still in college. We were working together, and I just always remember you hustling with editing, doing random videos here and there, and it's really cool to see where you've come. So it's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So I was thinking about this, Shawn. We've kind of been friends for almost a decade now, because I started that job right after I graduated high school, a few months after. So I was 18 at the time and genuinely didn't know what to do. I was in college, and we were just working at UPS and hustling at night, and during the day I'd either be doing school. So there wasn't a whole lot of time to do videography at the time, but whatever time I had, I spent learning and just shadowing people. And I'm sure I was extremely obnoxious about that, because I'm the kind of guy that I hate waiting. Um, whenever someone would be like, "Hey, you should talk to this guy. He knows a lot about videography or filmmaking," I'd be like all over that person, and I just want to know everything that I possibly could from that person. I was just trying to be as much of a sponge as I possibly could and soak up knowledge, which eventually led me to Atlanta here. And it's been a journey, like definitely. Like the quality of my videos and the quality of my work is vastly different than how it was when I was working with you at UPS and living in Cleveland, Tennessee. So yeah, there's so many aspects to it that I don't even consider myself a master, or like I've not even reached the top of what I can potentially do. I think I'm definitely still consider myself a student and someone that just wants to keep doing better, and I don't think I'll ever reach that until I'm dead, honestly.
Yeah, no, that's a good thing, man. It's good to be humble with anything you're doing. So, I'm humble with this podcast because I know I'm not a master. It's very obvious that I'm not, but it's really, like I said, man, it's really cool to see how far you've come, and I'm really, really excited to see where you're going in the future because, the shit you're doing is cool as fuck, man. And I really I really enjoy watching your stuff, and really looking forward to see what else you got going on in the future. So, but like, what is it? So I don't know if you're allowed to talk about it or not, but like, what is it like working like day to day with Diamond Dallas Page?
Yeah, I guess I can start out how kind of got brought onto that job, which kind of brings me back to Cleveland, Tennessee. I think you mentioned you wanted me to tell how I even got the job. If you wanted me to start with that, so basically, I was in Cleveland, Tennessee, had graduated with an advertising degree from the university, and I graduated and I was just like not happy. I was like, why? I've got all this cool stuff that I've done and I've applied to so many places in both Cleveland and Chattanooga. Why am I not getting a job? Like where's the money? Like I was told I was gonna be in this promised land of having a college degree and getting a crazy job and just working my way up in the world. And that was the furthest thing from the truth. And it got to a point where I just said, screw it, I'll just get this IT job that I was offered. It wasn't even really much of an IT job. It was more of like an office assistant with occasional IT work. And I was just working there, and I worked there for a year. And about a couple months in, I was just like, this is absolutely miserable. I hate this. And eventually, I was hanging out with one of my filmmaking buddies, who's now my roommate. His name's Jaron Lewis, phenomenal horror filmmaker. If you guys ever want to look him up, he was like, "Hey, you should talk to my buddy Nathan. He's an incredible filmmaker." And I was like, "All right, let me look this guy up." And immediately fell in love with his Instagram, and very very attractive to a young filmmaker. Just like he does these like fire stunts and just does all these crazy wrestling videos. Like, who is this guy? I got to meet him. And not to mention, he did Chris Jericho's Fozzy music video that was the song was called Judas. It was their biggest hit. It's an incredible music video. It was also filmed at the DDPY studio. And so I hit him up and I was like, "Yo, I want to work. I want to work for you. Like whatever you want." And he was like, "Are you sure? Like I'm in Atlanta and you're in Cleveland, which is 2 hours away." So I was like, "Dude, I don't care. I'll get you coffee. I'll make it happen." So I was really just hungry and like wanted to just prove myself to everyone. And so he was like, "All right, look, this is gonna be tough, but you don't have to do it if you don't want to. I'm gonna do a music video 2 days in a row. Starts at like 7 p.m. I think, or something like that. And we're gonna do it for 2 days in a row. So for 2 days in a row, went to my 9 to 5, got off, drove all the way to Atlanta, and helped Nathan with the music video, and got home at like 3 or 4 a.m. And I did that 2 days in a row. And Nathan was like, "This guy's insane. I want this guy to like be around us. Like this is the kind of guy that should be here in Atlanta filmmaking." So Nathan like tried to talk to me, and I was just like, "I don't know, man. That's a really tough move." And he was like, "So I have this crazy idea. I'm gonna buy a house, and I want to mentor you, and I want 4 other people to move in, including me and you, and I want to help you like in your filmmaking journey." So I was like, "Sure." And that was 2019. And so I moved here and just hustled, like took any job I could, did the yes man thing like Jim Carrey and just said yes to absolutely everything that I could think of. Like, no matter if it was just getting coffee on set, like I was like, I'm there. Like, let me help you. So did that for about a year and asked like felt like every other month, at least twice a month, I would say, "Nathan, is there an opening at DDP Yoga?" And sorry, I forgot to mention Nathan also works for DDP Yoga. So and I was like, "Is there an opening?" And he'd tell me, "No, I don't think we're needing anyone." And then January of 2020, the year of our Lord and Savior, um, there was an opening at DDP Yoga, and I was like, "This is incredible." So I got the job in January, and I've been working there ever since. I actually didn't meet Jet Dallas until about 2 weeks working there. He was busy doing something else, and um, now we're getting to your question. I know that was a million years later, but my first impression of him, he's just this larger than life character. Like he doesn't feel real. Like it feels like he jumped right out of a comic book. he's just got this persona that just like when Diamond Dallas Page walks into a room, you know it. Like you can feel it whether you're looking at him or not. You're like, oh, something big just walked in, and he's he's a really incredibly kind guy, genuinely cares about people and what's the best for them. And um, obviously you go into business to make money, but Dallas, it felt like he got into business to help people and then make money second. Like um, that's what his whole spiel is about. Is he loves watching people go from the lowest point in their life to the highest point in their life. I mean, he made a whole documentary about helping Jake the Snake Roberts go from this drug addicted loser almost in the wrestling world. And the way Dallas put it, like Jake didn't burn bridges, he nuked them, like almost to never return. And then like a few years later, Jake the Snake is inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame and is working for All Elite Wrestling to this day. So that's probably the best thing I could say about the man. Like, definitely become like a definitely like a mentor to me. Like, he's more than just a boss. Like, he definitely cares about people that he works with, and he's done so much for me in my life. If I ever have like a really big life decision or a life problem, like I know he'll like have some words of wisdom for me.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I like that. Yeah, I like the he's not necessarily working for money, but working to help people. And, because then money will come doing that. So that's fucking awesome. I like that.
Yeah, that was kind of the first piece of philosophy from DDP Yoga is let's inspire and help people and the money will come. So that's really what they care about first is doing that. Like, for instance, we put out videos with copyrighted music and my boss is like, I'm like, are you sure we should do this? Like, we're literally using the end song from Shawshank Redemption. Are you sure this is okay? And he's like, I don't care about making money from this. I want people to look at DDP Yoga and say, this is a thing that can help me in life rather than try to make money from it monetarily on YouTube or something.
I want to break down what exactly DDP yoga is. So you got DDP, that was his like signature move, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The diamond cutter, baby.
So DDP and then yoga. So obviously yoga business, correct?
Yep.
And
Yoga.
so
Well,
what?
Dallas, you can't call it yoga. He's like, it's not yoga. It's DDP yoga, bro.
So what does that mean?
It means so it's not just like your typical yoga like namaste. It's kind of more like dynamic resistance. I mean, Shawn, you're a workout freak, I know. So so one of the first moves is grab the ball. So instead of just like putting out your hands, you're engaging your forearm, you're engaging these fingers, and you're like really holding everything together. So everything is like flexing the whole time. And so it's not just like stretching, there's a good amount of that, rehab moves, and you're going to be doing push ups and sit ups. So it incorporates like a typical workout, and it's also just low impact. Like you're not going to be doing jumps or crazy Pilates moves. You're going to be doing very like minimal like squatting things and like getting into like a warrior position. Um, so that's kind of what it is, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, it does. It's pretty cool. I like that. I need to do some yoga, man. I used to do it back whenever I was in freshman, sophomore in college. But like, it's funny that you said like you're a workout freak. Not anymore. I don't really work out as much as I used to. So,
Yeah, Shawn used to actually train me for a good minute.
oh, you know what? That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I totally
good
forgot.
trainer.
Yeah, wasn't certified, didn't have my papers, but I was
We did
doing
it
you.
under the table.
I was doing you right. I was doing you right. So,
Appreciate
um,
it, man.
yeah, but yeah. So you work at DDP Yoga, and I know you do like you got like side hustles and stuff like that. So,
I do.
anything you can talk about? Any side hustles you've done in the past that are well? I mean,
Yeah, so there's quite a bit that I do. One of the biggest things that I did, I guess I'll talk about like cool clients that I've had in the past. The coolest thing that I did recently was Shaky Knees. So the one in 2022 is happening this weekend, but the one in October of 2021, I did that one, and it was an absolute blast. Like shooting for a music festival for the Foo Fighters, Phoebe Bridgers, Mac DeMarco, like St. Vincent. There was a lot of really cool names that I got to film. Run the Jewels. So that was like one of my favorite clients that I've had so far. Um, I've also filmed for Teddy Swims. He's a really big singer here in Atlanta. He's touring right now, and love the guy. He's a really good friend too. Friend of DDP's, so that's how I got that connection. Um, but I also love filming music videos, and can't really say I've filmed for anyone prolific yet, but it's hopefully that comes, because that's kind of what I want my bread and butter to be someday. Um, and personal projects, just kind of things that I make with don't really make any monetary gain on it, is I love making narrative short films. That's what I want to do. Is I'd love to make a feature film, have it screen in theaters with a major production company, or even have my own production company one day. That would be sick. Um, so I kind of mentioned to you this on the phone whenever we were talking about doing this podcast. Like, I'm trying to start my own kind of brand, and that I'd love to slowly build into a production company. So gonna start Portable Films, because that's kind of the moniker I go under online, is Portable Trevor. So I'm like, people know Portable, and a lot of my friends are like, I can't think of the word portable without thinking of your name. So I'm like, why don't I just, monetize that word. So definitely working on that, working on the logos and kind of the branding and everything. And um, yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. I have a few short films. I know it's probably not self promotion time, but if you want to check out youtube.com/portable Trevor, you can see all my work there. And I have my own podcast. I haven't posted in a while, but it's the Portable Trevor Show. And yeah, that's kind of where you can find everything.
Yeah, cool. No, promote your shit right now. That's what this is about.
Right now, well, I guess I can promote a brand that doesn't exist yet, Portable Films. Maybe you'll, maybe by the time this podcast is posted, maybe you'll hear about it. I don't know. Well, I'm just gonna try to take it day by day and trying to um, just, I want to love it before I put it out. Like, I feel like a lot of um, I don't know. I'm not a marketing expert, but I feel like people are rushed to put out a brand before they love it, and I'm kind of one of those people where I want to love something before I put it out in the world for the world to see.
Yeah, I get that. So it's funny because like the first couple episodes of my podcast that I posted, I did everything, and by I say everything, it wasn't really that much. Um, I didn't really do any editing or anything like that because I'm so terrible at it. I'm not very tech savvy. So I think it was like
Took me a while to get good.
took me like the first so I did the first 4 episodes. Everything was by myself and didn't edit anything. And then buddy reached out to me. Was like, "Hey man, let me hook you up and help you out with all this stuff." And the last 2 episodes have been, audibly and visibly a lot better than the the first couple episodes. So, but I think it's a good thing for
Right.
me to look back at it and be like, okay, well, I was super crappy at first, but then it's getting better and better. Not saying I had anything to do with that, but I'm just trying to surround myself with people that will be able to help me get better at podcasting, because podcasting, what I'm learning, is an art, man. Like you have, like it is legitimately an art. I didn't really think about that until I started doing it, because um, the whole reason I started this was because my work schedule and my girlfriend's work schedule were totally different. So like I used to be Tuesday through Saturday with my job, and she's Monday through Friday. But technically, she's kind of 24/7, but Sunday was like our jam. That was like our day to go do what we wanted. We would jam pack a whole bunch of stuff into one day, and it was exhausting.
Mhm.
So, and then Monday I would just kind of, you know, jack around and do whatever. Big bourbon guy, so I was always like going to different liquor stores around the DFW area, just kind of searching for stuff, and come back home and do like watch Netflix or whatever. And I'm like, I got to do something like something productive. So I'm like, I like whiskey. I listen to a lot of podcasts, so fuck it, let's start a podcast. And it's funny because the thing about this show is like it literally has nothing to do with whiskey. It's just like just shooting the shit with whoever's coming on. So and pretty much
Well,
just
that's
talking.
great.
Yeah, so it's fun. I enjoy it. So
Yeah, when I started my podcasts, I've always wanted to do one, and I actually started mine during the pandemic, and I found StreamYard like you're using right now, and I was like, oh, it's simple and it does everything that I want. I don't need all this crazy BS that a lot of other podcasting like Zoom style programs do. And there's a lot of other ones too. I think there's one called Riverside, which I don't understand the name. It sounds like a real estate company. That one's really good too. But I rolled with StreamYard and I was like, wow, the quality is not that great. I mean, my mic sounds good, and sometimes my guests either sound amazing or sometimes better than me, and sometimes they sound like they're in a trash can talking. like, um, but I I kept pushing because I felt like people were like it. People were longing for a human connection, and that's what that was kind of the genesis of mine was I wanted like to just have a connection with people. And I'm thankful I had 5 roommates at the time, but I was like, I want to talk to people. I want new perspectives. I want to learn. I want to. I also started it to grow my confidence because I'm just not really a very confident person, and it was a great way to do that. So the more I did it, the more I learned like what things were awkward or what things people may not want to talk about or how to just go about an interview. And it also carries over to real life. I mean, not every moment needs to be an interview, but
Mhm.
it also helped me in jobs and connecting with people whenever I'm on a film set or something. So there's a lot of benefits to podcasting besides just listening to it on your commute.
Yeah, and dude, I listen to so many podcasts because, like, I don't know if I ever mentioned to you or not, but dude, my commute is an hour.
Oof.
It is. I don't know if I ever mentioned that to you, but dude, it's so terrible. So, like,
I live 13 minutes away from DDP yoga, so no thank you.
oh, thanks for rubbing it in, Trevor. So,
No problem.
no, yeah. So I'll consume my time with podcasts, or I recently got into Audible, so I'll
Nice.
listen to some books. And the most recent book that I finished was actually you remember Stephen, right? Stephen McClellan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just recently finished his most recent book via Audible, and it super good, man. And
Does he read it?
no, I was kind of expecting him to, but he hired somebody. I don't know who it was. Just hired some guy to read the book, and it's still cool, but I think it would have added a little bit more of a personal touch if he would have done it. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I haven't really talked to him about it, so maybe he
Steven, if
felt.
you're listening to this, please read your own book next time.
So yeah, I'm excited to see where all of his stuff's going because he's been telling me a lot of things that are in the works. And it's funny. Whenever I had him on, we started talking after we were recording, and I'm like, "Hey, so what about that?" Oh shoot, he's like the new book. It's oh god, I'm about to butcher it. I can't remember the title. I'm having a brain fart. Through Fire and Ashes. Oh, I'm so sorry, Stephen. I can't remember the title. But anyways, he was like, "Hey, man, somebody reached out to me in regards to starting a movie about this book," and I'm like, "No shit." I was like, "That's pretty cool, man." So I haven't really talked to him about it since the podcast, but I really missed out on a lot of good content whenever he hopped off. We hopped off the recording, so I was like, "Fuck, man, that would have been cool to talk about."
Should have
So
kept recording.
I know, but it was one of those things where it's like I don't know if I should bring it up right now because I don't know if we can talk about it. He was like, "Yeah, man, you should have brought it up." So I'm like, "Fuck," but so that brings me to my next thing. I got something I'm not sure if you're able to talk about or not, but I'm going to bring it up.
Uh-oh.
Alaska.
Alaska?
Does that ring a bell?
Alaska. Yeah, I was so that kind of fell through. Um really unfortunate. But like I told Shawn a long time ago, I was approached to film a like docu-series in Alaska for a week or two maybe. And just kind of fell through. That's just kind of what happens in the TV and film world. Ideas and stories are brought to you that sound great and can sound really promising, but you can't. My rule of thumb is you can't get married to every idea or
Mm,
every project. It's good to go all in, like if you're really passionate about it, but a lot of times when things are offered to you, like I don't really get my hopes up unless I am physically like on the set that day. So yeah. Don't know if you want to keep that in or not. I sorry about that.
No, we're keeping that in, man. I mean, everything doesn't have to be sunshine and rainbows on social media because I
Yeah.
mean, people try to pretend like it always is, and it's not. So, I mean, shit happens. You made a move to try to get something rolling, and it didn't happen. Who gives a fuck? Just keep on going. And
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. I mean, it didn't crush me. I mean, I was excited about it, but um, sometimes I need to learn my lesson. Like, I don't need to go around telling people like something I'm excited about because it could or couldn't happen. I think it's okay to be excited, but sometimes I like moments like this. I'll tell a friend like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna make a movie with Shaq," and then the next week they're like, "Dude, how's Shaq?" And I'm like, "Fell through." By the way, that did not happen at all. Me and Shaq were not even in a conversation to make a movie.
Shazam 2 did not happen.
Shazam 2.
Dude, he was in some, oh God, I think it's called Steel. Do you ever remember seeing that?
No.
Oh, dude, I'm pretty sure that's the name of the movie. He was in some like superhero movie where he was like, it was kind of like Iron Man, but it was very weird. It was kind of like, I don't know. He was in like this steel outfit. He was like some sort of superhero. I don't really remember too much about it, but I'm sure it was cheesy as fuck. So I got to rewatch that.
Probably. Shaq's been in a lot of B movies, but I'm not gonna fault him. That man has been dipped his toes into every business venture you can think of.
Oh, dude, yeah, he's reinvented himself so much. It's kind of like Snoop Dogg. Like that guy is so relevant since the '90s. It's insane.
Yeah, like, I think it's really cool watching people, like you said, reinvent themselves. It's one of my favorite things, like watching, for instance, like Chris Pratt go from this funny, chubby dude in Parks and Rec to being one of the most prolific, superhero icons in the world. Like, that's really cool. Or, Shaq being the CEO of Papa John or whatever the heck his, like, board member position is. Or, even Snoop Dogg, like, the dude has, like, 8,000 had his own, like, reality shows, and he's friends with Martha Stewart. He was also on AEW, wrestled, like, did really well actually for being, Snoop Dogg and being, 100 pounds drenched in water.
Yeah, dude, he's such a cool dude. I've listened to him on. I say such a cool dude, like I met him. No, he's
Yeah, me and Snoop hung out last week.
yeah, got high as fuck. No, I listened to him on this podcast called Full Send. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no.
So I'm actually I'm actually drinking Happy Dad, which is from those guys, the Full Send podcast. It's a hard seltzer in a beer can instead of like a skinny can.
And that's the sponsor of today's episode. Cut to the ad break.
That would be great if I was sponsored by them, dude. Oh my god, those guys are fucking insane. Those are some smart guys, man. They're young as shit too. They're like
Really?
27, 28 years old, and they got a good group. I mean, dude, that's a very extreme example. Like you're gonna have like somebody like that at some point in life, and it's just
Right.
cool. It's cool to see that, but like, I'm not a big hard seltzer guy, but dude, these things are so good. Oh my god.
I'll have to try one.
Yeah, I'm about 8 deep already today, so that's a problem.
Oh, man,
But
you're feeling it.
yeah, a little bit, a little bit. I'm a big guy, so it takes a lot. But no, but yeah. So um, Snoop Dogg was on their podcast, and it just cool to hear his story because I haven't really heard a lot of stuff about his past, like in regards to like Suge Knight and Death Row Records, which I think he actually just purchased because he was, I'm pretty sure, a artist on Death Row back in whatever the '90s, whenever it was, and he was like, "Yeah, I just had the opportunity to purchase Death Row Records," and it's like everything's come full circle, and I'm like, dude, that is so cool.
That is cool.
That is so cool. So
Yeah, I think we forget, like, Snoop's kinda like this, "Oh, here's the stoner guy that's in, like, every commercial and TV show and makes random appearances on music videos or song features." But I think we forget he's, like, one of the godfathers of, like, '90s gangster rap and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, he's a G, man. Literally.
Double G.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God, I gotta entertain. Hello, my baby. Hello, my.
Oh, dude, that reminds me of I don't know the guy's name, but didn't you have somebody from Looney Tunes that was on your podcast at one point?
Yeah, his name's Bob Burgeon. He voiced Porky Pig and Tweety Bird.
Dude, that is so
Not
cool.
in the original Looney Tunes, because pretty much everyone that was involved in those is dead. But like he voices Porky whenever Warner Brothers wants him to. Gonna be honest, not one of my best episodes, and that is not on Bob. He was a fantastic guest, loved him, but just so many things went wrong before that episode that I cringe at. One was so I use StreamYard for everything, and Bob could not use his laptop for whatever reason. So he was like, "Can I use my iPad?" And I was like, "You can try." And I think StreamYard has an update now where you can use it on the iPad. But literally like 30 minutes before we were supposed to go live, Bob's like, "Hey, StreamYard's not working. What do I do?" So within 30 minutes, I got my roommate at the time who's an IT guy, and I was like, "Dude, I need to put together the streaming setup, like brand new from the ground up, 30 minutes before we go live." And at the time, I guess this is also important to add, I did all my stuff on Twitch, so all my shows were like live. So, and then I would edit them a little bit and then put it on YouTube. So yeah, not one of my favorite. So I was already flustered, and if you watch the interview, my face is like blood red from like being frustrated, and I'm like stumbling over. I'm like, "Hi, Bob. You're Porky, right?" And like it just wasn't fun. It wasn't a good time, and I had so many questions. Like, and you might experience this more as you do this show, Shawn. Is like there's so many episodes that I've done where after it's over, I'm like, "Oh, why didn't I ask this? Why didn't I ask that?" And, um, and I was also new to interviewing and podcasting. I was like, "Hey, Bob, just want some feedback. What'd you think?" And he was like, "I'm gonna be honest, you should, do a little more research before you start a show." He was like, "It's important to ask questions that aren't normally asked." And he was like, "You kinda hit you kinda did all my greatest hits." And I was like, "I gotcha." But he's an incredibly nice guy, loved having him on the show. I just wish I was more prepared.
So I had these guys that I did the podcast with, Chris and Luke from the Then Wait podcast. They're
Cool.
based in Cleveland. Super cool guys, and I had to do the podcast with them 3 times because it had nothing to do with them. It was all about my presentation. Dude, I was so trash, and I felt so bad. I felt so bad about it because I'm cool with them. So they were like, "Don't even worry about it. We'll do it over again." But it's like it comes back to being prepared for having stuff ready, because if there's a lull or something like that, you're like, okay, well, let's talk about X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
But I can shoot the shit with anybody. I can have a conversation with anybody. It doesn't matter. But it's like this is a different dynamic. So if you're not prepared to have this interview, then it's like, well, I'm gonna crash and burn today. So it's kind of like a comedian, really. It's like, those first couple times that you bomb. I'm speaking like I'm a comedian because I'm not, but those first couple times that you bomb, or that first time that you bomb, it's like you learn from that, and you're like, I don't want that ever to happen again.
Yeah.
I mean, this is very different than being on a stage and being in front of people, because that's like literally just destroys you if you're up there. I'm assuming you get up there and you're just frozen, and your jokes are
Right.
just fucking trash.
I actually, I don't know if I ever told you this, but I'm actually in an improv troupe and love doing improv comedy. But the thing with that's different from stand up is if you bomb up there, like the most you can learn is like, okay, that bit did not work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because improv is different every time, the stories are different. So it's like a weird, different learning experience. I find that really interesting. But, what's the best way to get better at something is to do it over and over and over again. And also, like, technology is just not my friend 90% of the time. And this is actually the first time I'm telling people this, like, in a public for him, but I'm actually kind of building a set in my basement for my podcast. Nothing extravagant, so don't expect Joe Rogan or Conan's podcast or anything crazy. But just really wanted to cut out the middleman of one of the biggest offenders to my show, which is the internet. I've ruined a couple of episodes just because my internet was so bad. Like I had this one girl, filmmaker that I really look up to. Her name's Valentina V. Fantastic guest. Loved having her on. But at the end of the episode, I was like, "Hey, how was that?" She was like, "I'm gonna be honest. Like, you kept glitching out. Internet wasn't great." So she was like, "If you saw me just smiling and nodding my head, that was me like not knowing what to do." And I was like, "Oh." So that's why I'm cutting out that middleman and just being like, "Hey, I know it's weird to ask people, hey, you want to come in my basement and do this podcast?" Then, probably just do close friends and then build up somewhat of a portfolio. Be like, hey, these people are not dead; they're in my basement, and then slowly invite more guests. But or I don't even mind traveling a little bit and going to people's houses or studios or apartments or whatever if they don't feel comfortable coming over. But yeah, that's so it's been quite the journey. Hope I'm not rambling too much.
No, dude. We're just shooting the shit, man. I love doing this stuff. So it's like because usually whenever I'm reaching out to people to come on, they're like, "Oh, so like you got a studio or something like that?" I'm like, "No, I'm in my closet, and you cannot
Yeah.
come in here because it's not going to work out." Because if you could see what I'm looking at right now, it's like, dude, no, it's not going to work. So
When I
everything's
first started my podcast, I had a guest. His name was Rich Ward. He's one of the guitarists for the band Fozzy, and um, I was like, "Hey, be on here at and he's in his 50s. Rich is like really actually quite tech savvy, but it was just bad miscommunication. I thought this was funny, but I told him like, hey, 7 p.m. or whatever the time was, send him the StreamYard link. And then I get a text saying, "Hey man, I'm about halfway to you." And I was like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" Like he was driving to my house.
oh god,
And so that was pretty funny. So it's funny, like, all the different podcast setups that people picture in their heads.
yeah, for sure. So it's very easy to like compare yourself to other people, and it's like I really try not to do that too much. And one thing I try not to do either is like even watch my videos. I kind of have to sometimes because I'm like, well, got to promote this on social media, so let me get a little snippet to post on there. So, but because like, so whenever I do watch them, I'm like, oh, I kind of sound like an idiot. But it's also one of those things where it's like when you hear your voice, you're like, oh, that's what I sound like.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Some people tell me I have a great voice for this, but sometimes I listen to myself, I'm like, man, I sound like a 12-year-old boy who's trying to lower his voice to sound cooler. And I'm like, no, please don't do that to yourself, Trevor. Try to be more positive because like I said, I started this whole thing to boost my confidence and get better at talking to people because sometimes I think I suck at that.
Yeah, well, I kind of feel like I can like it's very weird, man. I'm like I'm very introverted and I'm very extroverted as well. I think it depends on
Same.
my mood, really. But it's like it's very weird. But no, like, dude, you're like everything you're doing is so fucking cool, and I'm proud of where you've come, man. It's super cool to. I love seeing
Thanks.
people that I know succeed, and I know you're gonna go places. You just got to keep fucking working, man. Like, I mean, what are you, 29, 28?
I just turned 28.
Okay, so happy belated birthday. I don't even know when your birthday is. I'm a
Well,
terrible
March
friend.
4th, so it's May, but so I guess I can't say just turned 28, but
It's gonna be May.
it's
Whatever
gonna
that
be
just
May.
whatever that Justin Timberlake song is, or Backstreet Boys, or whatever he was in. I don't even know.
In sync.
Instinct. There you go. See, shows you what I know, man. I'm ignorant as shit. So
Yeah, get up to date on your pop culture, Shawn. You're doing a podcast. You got to be aware.
yeah, no, I try not to pay attention to pop culture too much, but it does happen if you're on social media llooking at stuff. It's inevitable.
For sure.
But
And like, I really do appreciate you saying that, Shawn, because sometimes I feel like, you know, am I on a good track? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I like, I guess I get a little bit of imposter syndrome sometimes. Like, I don't deserve to be here. I've filmed for TV shows and I've filmed with, you know, big celebrities, and sometimes I'm like, I shouldn't be here. Like they're gonna kick me off set at any point. And then I do it and I'm like, oh, I'm here for a reason. Definitely don't think I've arrived or I'm at where I'm not even halfway to my peak yet, I think I still got so many more years to go, but definitely think I'm in a better spot than I was as the awkward kid working at UPS with you.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just like anything in life. It's like you're never gonna get to a point where you think you're good enough. For instance, so the last guy I had on, I haven't posted this episode just yet, but it will be by the time this is posted. But Eric Brown Jr. He's a IFBB pro, so he's a professional bodybuilder. We were, I've known him for, I don't know, about close to 9 years now. I used to work with him, and whenever I moved out to California, very short stint. Cool that I did that, but glad.
I remember that.
Yeah, glad I don't live there anymore. But I connected with him whenever I was out there. Whenever we were talking, we're just like, when you're bodybuilding, you're looking to have the perfect physique, and there is no perfect physique, but you can keep working to attain that. But if you have like body dysmorphia or something like that, which I'm sure most bodybuilders do, or whatever you want to call them, they're going to feel like they're either fat or like their body's just not good enough because they're trying to get to that next level. So, and it's the same thing with anything in life, whether it be videography or your presentation whenever you're doing a podcast just like this. I need to get better and better, and you just start picking yourself apart, which is like why I try not to watch my videos, because if you say that you don't pick yourself apart when certain things, you're fucking lying. Gary V is an exception. I feel like he doesn't do that, but yeah. So you're on the right track, bud. Just keep fucking working, man. You're young. I'm young too. So
Yeah, that's one of the things I take pride in. It sounds weird to say, but I take pride in my youth because I'm fully aware that I've got maybe another 2 decades before I need to start like slowing down in some areas. And I know there's some very prolific people that are in their 50s and 60s. I mean, hell, Steven Spielberg's in his 70s and he still wants to make movies. He just made West Side Story, which was phenomenal. So, I think it's hard to say like when I should quote unquote like slow down or something. If I want to like start a family or if I want to take it easy on my, mental health or my body. Like I'd love to take a sabbatical, but I'm not even close to that point yet. And I never gonna stop reaching. Like I've had, I've had plenty of people tell me like, "Oh man, you sure you want to keep doing this?" Like, I'm sure no one's ever really like just come out and been like a Trevor hater or whatever. But I'm sure there were people back in Cleveland that were like, "Oh my God, Trevor is going to go play pretend in Atlanta for a few years and then come back and work at UPS again." And I'm a firm believer, and I know this is a completely different tangent. Like I'm a firm believer in chasing your dreams, and I know that's very Disney Channel and very unrealistic to some people, but I fully believe that there like, you can't wait for an opportunity, you're gonna have to go chase it, and if you just keep waiting for it, it's never gonna happen, like, you're gonna have to go after it. The other thing I'll say is I consider myself I come from a place of privilege, like, graduated college with no debt, lived in my parents' basement, they didn't make me pay rent for first 2 years after college, and then, saved up enough money to move here without, struggling, so I've never had to worry about where my next meal has come from or worry about paying rent or bills or anything. I still had to work hard. I still have to work hard. Like if I just stopped working, I would not be doing this podcast. I'd have to sell this MacBook or something. All sorts of talk about, what's the point of working if the class system doesn't work or, the system is rigged. That's a completely different subject, but
yeah,
just all in that thought with firm believer in going after and working hard. Like that's what it really comes down to. People ask me what's the secret sauce to success, and I don't even think I've reached that yet. Like I've said a million times, but just keep working hard. Like you gotta keep going. Somewhat, I talked to a friend um, who is trying to get a TV show off the ground, and I was asking him like, "Are you afraid of failing? Are you afraid of this?" And he told me like he's met people in the TV show industry that um, like he's learned. You ever see like, for instance, Adult Swim is this huge hodgepodge of animated shows and other stuff. And sometimes there will be a random show you're like, how the hell did that get on air? Like who did this? And from what I understand, it's all about either connections or that guy worked long enough and hard enough to get into that. Like his time finally came and it happened. So um I really do think like your time will come. I can't remember, there's a story about an author who wrote a book in his like 20s, and he gave it to like every publication everywhere he possibly could, and it was never published until he was 40. And that's like a 20-year grind or however old he was. And there's been stories of I don't even think Morgan Freeman got his first gig until he was like in his 50s or something. So um, get off my soapbox, but get out there, do what you want. I really do believe that. I know there's different people are in different spots in their life, but if you have a dream and you want to do it, go for it. Like there's really nothing stopping you.
Yeah, and I think one thing that stops people is like the fear of like what other people will think. And I will be the first to tell you, like, you know, I think about that all the time. It's like, oh, well, what if so and
Me
so
too.
thinks this? So what if so and so thinks this about the podcast or something like that? It's like, well, I'm still learning to not give a shit about what people think, because I am very good about not giving a shit in regards to like what other people think, but like I can definitely be better because there's always that you got that voice in your head that's like kind of saying this or that about what you're doing, and you're just like, dude, no, you got to get the bitch out. So, and I
I
think
like
that's
that
where
saying.
I think it's like that's good to like it's good to have like an anchor and like for your day, whether it be videography or editing or whatever you're doing, or going to play basketball or working out or playing tennis, which I played earlier with my girlfriend, and I am terrible, but it was fun.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's a park right down the street from our house. We played, and I was like, I'm so terrible.
The other thing that's really helped me in my career and really helped me get to where I am is honestly my environment and the people I surround myself with. And, coming from Cleveland, Tennessee, I love all my friends from there, still do. But, you know, if you're wanting to be a filmmaker or, um, even a personal trainer, like you can't hang around people that don't have the same goals as you. And you can still be friends with those people and hang around with them, but that would have been stupid of me to move into a house full of chefs. Like that would have been dumb. Like, okay, I guess I'm just going to learn culinary skills while I'm trying to be a filmmaker. People are going to watch my videos and they're going to be like, cool, but we're going to go make this dinner. I don't know. That's a stupid example,
No, no, no.
but you're a
I
product of your environment is what I'm saying.
yep.
And like, this was another aspect that really helped me when I moved here. So there's this community called the Thunderdome here in Atlanta, and it was started by this man named Isaac Dietz, and it's actually where Nathan came from that I mentioned earlier, Nathan Mowry. Um, Isaac started this house. He was like, I want to house filmmakers in this house, and I'm going to teach them film. And every week they have these events, like filmmaking events. You make a 1 minute short film, and Isaac like throws the dice that create the rules. So it'll be like 4 shots, all slow motion or something like that. So you have to make a 1 minute film with only 4 shots, and they all have to be in slow motion. So that's just like a random thing, or all tripod shots. Like you can't move the camera, and it's just these things that kind of get you out of your head and are like, because I think something that overwhelms people is, um, okay, I have a camera, but I have no idea what to do. And I think one of the biggest things I've learned in my career is limitations create the best products. And whenever you have a limitation, I think that's when you're most creative. That's why Vine was so awesome whenever it first started. You had 6 seconds and you had this amount of characters to whatever put in your caption. And people churned out some of like my favorite content at the time. And it was because everybody knew the same rules. Everybody knew you had 6 seconds and you had this amount of time to put it out or whatever. And that's kind of the cool part of the Thunderdome is whenever you meet the next week after the rules are done and we're watching the films, everybody knows the rules, everyone knows the limitations, and everyone knows. So whenever someone does something really rad and cool as shit with it, you're like, that's so awesome. Like I had the same limitations and I didn't think of that.
Yeah. So the Thunderdome, was that like you're making me think of like Silicon Valley with like T.J. Miller and all those other guys on there. So is it like a incubator or something? I don't know if that's the right word for that, but
No, it's literally just a house that some filmmaker guys live in, and in the basement they just have this like screening room with like a projector where they house the films and everything that people make.
that's pretty fucking dope, man. I like that.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I did every week in 2019 was make these 1 minute short films, and that's like what got me the most ready for film sets because you got to really think on your toes.
So, so what? Remind me, and you may have said it. I don't remember, but what year did you start working at DDP Yoga?
2020 January.
Okay, so was it like? So you said January 2020.
Yep,
Okay,
right before the pandemic.
yeah. So obviously you're still working there. So like, how did COVID affect what you're doing?
Oh man, it was a scary time for sure because there's a lot of uncertainty, and I remember mid March it was really normal. So the way DDP Yoga, so there's a studio, the Performance Center here in Smyrna, Georgia. It's kind of where like our headquarters are. Um, we were having classes like in-person classes every day, Monday to Friday, and like on one side we had our studio with the computers and editing bays, and on the other side was like some other offices, and in the very back was the studio where people like worked out with trainers, and sometimes Dallas would come in and lead a class, and we had to put a stop to that. We had to work from home, and thank God we have the app, the DDP Yoga app, because um, that's kind of where the bread and butter is of DDP Yoga. That's where a lot of the revenue comes in, and that's where most people use it. They can use it at home. And now that whole stream of revenue is like gone, like the people coming in and paying to work out at the PC. So I'm sure that was scary. I mean, I'm not on the business end of deals. I just listen to what Dallas and Steve you have to say, and they're like, do this. And I'm like, okay. So they say jump, I say how high.
Yeah.
I'm not really a part of any business deals or anything. So they had to shut that down, and it's still shut down to this day. We were still not having people come into the studio, and like I was scared to death. I was like, God, are we gonna have to shut down? Like, am I gonna lose my job? Like, there was so much uncertainty, and it was scary. And but it was also kind of cozy at the time. Like, it was kind of fun. It was like a really weird, long sleepover, and um, I'm working, and then whenever it's time for me to get off, all my roommates are here to chill, and we would watch movies and play games and go outside, take walks, uh, play outside in the backyard, jump on the trampoline. Like, I had it better than probably 99% of other people, because I know how lonely it definitely was during that time for a lot of people.
My life never died down during COVID because obviously work at UPS, have been for close to 10 years now. And dude, business was fucking booming during COVID. Um,
Good.
it's died down a lot at the beginning of this year. Still profitable and stuff like that. But dude, it was like fucking Christmas year round for 2 years. I was like, I need help. I need an adult, please. There's blood everywhere. But yeah, man. So
The best thing that happened during COVID was I made the video that Tony Hawk shared.
oh, dude, I'm glad you brought that up. I was actually showing that video to my girlfriend right before you jumped on because so Tony Hawk's they had a documentary that just dropped a couple weeks ago called
It's incredible. Loved it.
Until the Wheels Fall Off. So good, man. And one of my favorite skateboarders is Rodney Mullen. And I don't know why I didn't know this, but I didn't know he was on the Bones Brigade with Tony Hawk, and I'm like, no shit. Shows you what kind of fan I am. But I just thought that was so cool, and just to kind of see like to kind of get into his mind about what it was like coming up in and being Tony Hawk. So that was so cool, man.
Yeah, that
And
doc meant a lot to me. So I actually have in the hallway right outside my bedroom, I have a framed photo of an autograph, or it's an autographed photo of Tony Hawk. Like he kind of did a charity thing for, I think it was one of his photographer buddies. Like he had a lot of gear stolen, so Tony, being the awesome guy he is, he was like, "What if I sold your photos and I like autographed them and I just did them in bulk, like just signed a shit ton, like thousands of them, and then had people buy them online." So I bought one. Still haven't met the guy, so it's not an in-person autograph. So, but I watched that documentary, and I I see that photo every day, like because it's right next to my room. And most of the time I just pass by it. But after that documentary, I kind of looked at it differently because, I think it showed um, one of just to spoil like a very small minor thing in the doc. Um, People are like asking him like or in the doc they're talking about how he's like the goat, the greatest of all time, like what makes Tony the best. And what I thought was fascinating is they didn't talk about like his technique or how fast he was or how strong he was or anything. They were like, honestly, it's because Tony can get up and keep going better than anyone else. And I thought that's why it was awesome that the doc is called Until the Wheels Fall Off, because that's the kind of guy he is. He can get the shit kicked out of him millions of times, fall down, break every bone in his body, and he's still gonna get up and do the 900. Like that's what makes Tony Hawk the best is, and I thought that was so cool. Like no other sport you really hear that. Like Michael Jordan playing basketball, like I'm sure he fell a lot, but you know he's got to miss 1,000 baskets, and that's not really detrimental to his body. But in skateboarding, that I'm sure that hurts. I've never fallen off a half pipe and just right onto my shoulder. And sometimes those guys break bones, dislocate things, and just keep going. So I looked at that photo a little differently, and I was like, I feel a heck of a lot inspired because sometimes I get back down, I get knocked down, and I can't get up again. Contrary to what Chumbawamba says.
dude, that's actually one of my favorite songs. I listen to that like at least three times a week, dude. On my way home
I've
from
never
work,
listened to that willingly.
dude, I love that song. On my way home from work, I probably listen to it at least 3 times a week, and I'm just like fucking. That's my shit. Yeah.
Get up again.
No, but yeah, man, that documentary was super cool. It definitely brought back a lot of memories because, like, growing up, like, a lot of people don't know this, but I mean, I used to skateboard. I did it for about 5 years.
Awesome.
I was okay. I wasn't anything great, but like, it was just so fun, doing it with my friends back in New Orleans, where I grew up until Hurricane Katrina. And then I moved to Tennessee. That was that was pretty interesting time in my life. And I still skateboarded when I came to Tennessee for a while. And I stopped probably like in high school because like I started getting a little bit more serious about basketball. Yeah, man, that was very nostalgic to watch that because growing up, playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater, that was like my shit. Coming home from school, I'm either like watching Dragon Ball Z or going to play Tony Hawk Pro Skater. My favorite one was Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, because you had like Spider-Man, Wolverine, and all those guys to skateboard with, and I just thought it was such a cool thing because I love Marvel comics, as you can tell behind me right here.
Yeah,
got a comic book back there, and like I grew up collecting comic books, collecting action figures, and if you were to walk into my room back in the day, I was 13, 14, whatever, which I still wish I had my comics and toys to this day, but I just don't. Life happens. But like, if I was my age back then, when you walked into my room, you're like, "Are you a fucking 40-year-old virgin?" There's nothing wrong with being a virgin at all. It is what it is. But it's just funny to think about that because it makes me think about the movie with Steve Carell, 40-year-old virgin. But like that was my that was just so cool to see that, and that documentary was amazing. And I try to get my girl to watch it with me, and she just hates documentaries with a passion. And I'm like, dude, what's wrong with you? Documentaries are so good. And yeah,
most are. A lot are. Not everyone's a knockout of the park.
No, definitely not. But that one was just, I mean, it just like you were saying, it meant a lot. It meant a lot more to you in the aspect of like, I'm assuming, did you actually talk to Tony Hawk?
Oh no, we never communicated. Also, I was gonna say you mentioned the Spider-Man suit or character in the third one. That's actually one of the Easter eggs. If you watch the video again, I added the Spider-Man suit
Oh, in the video you posted?
in the video I made. Yeah,
Oh shit, I'm gonna have to watch that again because I don't remember that.
yeah,
I'll have
it's
to
when
look at
he's
that.
selecting outfits. You can see it at the very bottom.
Okay, I'll have to take a
Well, my
look at that
roommate
again.
did the graphics. He added that, and I was like, I love that. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's such a cool thing, man. So
But yeah, that day was insane. Literally, I shot it and edited it within like a few days, and then it was like kind of just a perfect storm and perfect time of events because at the time the new video game was announced, the Tony Hawk remaster, 1 and 2 remastered, and then Tony Hawk was on Joe Rogan, and Tony Hawk's just kind of just has like reinvented himself in the past few years, and his career's been on like a crazy incline. Um, but I posted it the week he was on Joe Rogan, and it got a lot of traction, and all my friends were like, well, I just made it, and I was like, I love whenever I don't know if you've ever experienced this, Sean, whenever you make something or post something and you're like, this is good. Like I am confident, like this is 100% objectively good. And so I posted it and is getting like traction in my friend group. Like they were like, dude, this is really good. And I was like, thank you. I worked pretty hard on it and also not hard on it at all because it took me like an hour to come up with the idea and then like an hour and a half to shoot it, honestly. And then it took like 2 or 3 days for my roommate to do all the graphics. But um, so first day I posted it, and you know how internet time is. You post something and it's irrelevant literally the next day. That's just how the internet is. And that's fine. Like I love internet videos. There's some of my favorite pieces of content of all time are from the internet. But so I posted it and I was like, oh dude, it'd be so cool if Tony posted it. Like, come on, man. And as the day went on, you know, wish I could go back in time and slap myself, but I'm getting like, you know, hundreds of interactions and likes and everything, and all my friends and family are like, "This is great, good job," and as if I needed more validation because I'm just a piece of shit, not humble person, and like by the end of the day, I just got more sad. I was like, ah, man, I didn't finally put out a video that I'm like, this is objectively incredible, and um, obviously he didn't post it, and I was like, all right. So I went to bed. I woke up around like 11 a.m. I was FaceTiming my buddy Parker because I was trying to FaceTime a bunch of my buddies during the pandemic just to get human connection and just catch up with people. And while I'm FaceTiming him, I get a notification. Tony Hawk tagged you in a post. Tony Hawk mentioned you in a comment. And as soon as that was posted, my entire notifications went and like while I'm FaceTiming my friend, my phone is going nuts. And I'm like starting to run around my house while I'm FaceTiming my buddy Parker. And I'm like, Parker, he shared the video. Oh my God, this is nuts. And I'm like doing laps around my house. And then I run to my roommate James, who's like dead asleep. And I knock on his door. I'm like, James, Tony Hawk shared the video. Oh my God. And he just opens the door and just goes like, I know, Trevor, I'm gonna go back to bed. So definitely was obnoxious that day, but I was on cloud nine. That was the coolest thing ever.
yeah, I can imagine. And like coming back to what you were saying a second ago was like, I don't know if you ever had like you posted anything that's like got a lot of traction. Hell no, I haven't, and I'm totally fine with that. But that's I still
Well, not
remember
even
whenever.
I wasn't even asking about traction. I was just asking about posting something that you were like, I feel the most confident about this. Like this is good.
Um, yeah, no, I can't like recall anything off the top of my head that I've posted. It's like
Or not even something you're posting, just something that you did that you were like, this is objectively like good. Like what I'm doing is good. Whether it was like, I don't know, a school assignment or something you did at work or anything.
Oh yeah, so my tattoo on my chest. It's funny because my girlfriend was talking about it the other day. She's like, "I totally forgot you had a tattoo on your chest," and because I got out of the shower and came into the bedroom, and she was like, "Holy shit, you got a tattoo!" And because my chest is kind of hairy, and I'm not a naturally hairy guy, but like my chest area is,
Yeah.
and she was like, "Yeah, I totally forgot I got a tattoo," and like I drew my tattoo, and I got got the ideas together and stuff, and gave it to the artist, and it's just a very sentimental thing. And for those of you that don't know, but that about the tattoo, it's like it's a collage of different cultural items, or however you want to call it, of things in New Orleans, because I grew up in New Orleans, got
Oh, I
dislocated.
remember that tattoo. Okay, yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, so and it got
Because I've seen Shawn shirtless.
yes, so because I used to be very very heavily invested into bodybuilding, and not so much anymore, and that's totally okay. But it was it definitely a very sentimental thing to get that done, because dislocated to Tennessee because of Katrina. And not downplaying Katrina whatsoever, because it was a
Mhm.
terrible thing, but like we were fine. We had the means of transportation to get out of the city, and we were very fortunate to be able to do so, because a lot of people didn't, and a lot of people had to go to the Superdome, or if they didn't go there, they stayed in their house, because the mindset of people in New Orleans is like, no, we're good, we're gonna weather the storm, no pun intended, and we're gonna get through this. And it was literally the worst thing that could ever happen. So
I'm sure that was a scary time.
yeah, it was pretty fucked up, man. And you know, uh, over time, I really thought about it, and I was like, I'm gonna get that tattoo on my chest, where my heart's at, because that's New Orleans is where my heart's at, and I'll always love the city. Would I want to live there now? In the future, maybe, but it's probably gonna be a hard no for me right now. But it's just New Orleans played a big part in my life, as far as like who I am today and stuff like that. So go Tony Hawk.
Katrina to Tony Hawk, natural progression.
That's right. So, but all right, bud. I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I really do appreciate you getting on. And
Yeah, man, this was fun. I hope
yeah,
I gave you some good answers.
hell yeah, you did. So for everybody listening, watching, until next time, y'all have a good one. Peace.
Peace.